It's indeed. What will it be? $200. $200. Around $200 is the minimum wage for people that see it as a result of what socialism does. See why it's not a coincidence that I am what I am. Spanish is an unfairly sexual language. What? How? Patrick? What? It is more. It has more synonyms than English. That's it. It's an unfairly. Why? Why? Do you like when I speak in Spanish? Why do you say that? I cannot be aware of it being a native speaker. It is like just like Italian is directly derived from Roman Latin in that sense. In that sense. Well, thank you. I didn't know anyone in Europe would have appreciated it. I honestly don't imagine that with all of you having so close to you there in Central Europe, the magnificent German for all of you as the dominant thing besides English. Have a classmate who studies Spanish for fun. Lots of people study it for fun, not use it especially. Is this a joke? Why would you like to? Unless you are planning to come to South America or to Spain, and the culture is like will be different to anyone who isn't also Italian. Will be different. Will be quite different, especially to Germans and to Protestants and Anglicans and etc. German is disgusting, but I started to like. No, don't say that, Peter. Don't say that. You should like German more than Spanish, because you have Austria close to you, and all of the German-speaking world. Spanish and Italian is the language of love or romance. Like, true. That is true. That is true. I have to admit that. Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is true. Do you know why? I can tell you why. Yeah, that is true. That is true. And I even carried a bit in English. I've noticed that's a mistake. Do you know why? Because contrary to German and English and Dutch and any Germanic or Viking derived dialect, Spanish, Italian and Portuguese, Latin dialects have, I like Hungarian the most, second English, third German. Good. But then you say that Spanish is sexy and incredible and that people study it for fun. I don't know. So pretty much the reason why they might sound so wrong, it is good when a native speaks it. Okay. There's a higher barrier there. I see the Germanic influence, the sphere of influence there. Yeah. Except Mexicans. Mexicans exaggerated a lot. German is disgusting even when a native speaker speaks. No, my Patrick, no, don't say that. What? What? That one is a bomb that I wasn't expecting. That one is a turn of events that I wasn't expecting. So native German sounds disgusting, but native Spanish sounds good. Every German knows it. What the fuck? Damn, you have to explain that to me. You have to explain it, huh? I am not I am outside of the. You have to understand that Spaniards and Italians were outside of the sphere of influence of Central Europe with Germany. Is that culturally accepted? Then we have to ask. I don't remember the name. Before chaotic chemistry, it was. Then we should have asked that to Saint, to Saint Just, that was from Germany, precisely, or to Flying Energies, that is there as well. But he was from the Balkans as well. And you say native speaker, okay? Um, going back to they collected every what the fuck? They collected every anger to the world when they created their die and no. So Spanish to you sounds beautiful when spoken by a native speaker, but German by a native speaker is terrible. Like the pronoun, like the pronunciation of the pronouns forward. No, going back to why you may say that Italian and Spanish are the languages of it's because contrary to German and to English, to Dutch and to any Viking or Germanic derived language, Latin languages aren't constant. They have pitches of highs and lows. That's why they are expressive. If on top you add the hand movement gestures that we do, they are very expressive. And it makes sense because Rome invaded all of Europe, so we had to learn to communicate with everyone. In that sense, is the extroverted portion that we all have in us as Italians and Spaniards. In that sense, instead of swallowing feelings, we are encouraged to express them. And language was like the core way in which that happened. That's why you see that we have hand gestures, so many hand gestures, and that when we speak in Spanish, it's a constant pitch of highs and lows, and in Italian as well, and in Portuguese as well. It's like constant pitches of high and low, high and low. Instead, German and English are constant languages due to the part of the mouth that they use, because precisely Vikings were more community driven. In Rome, you were encouraged to stand out in your individuality. Not something of behaving like a pig, eh? Not that. It was more vertically authority based in that sense. This is what is generally mistaken. Is that you were encouraged to be expressive. The language encourages you to naturally be expressive. In that sense. To expel feelings, not to keep them inside. A B2 Spanish language exam is just hand gestures and volume kappa. Well, no, it will involve some other things, I presume. The most beautiful language is French, in my opinion. I wouldn't say that. I will disagree on that one. I would still give it to English, of course, as English teacher. I would still give it to English because of the versatility that it has proven to have. When British English properly spoken in Britain, and all of the variations, and in all of the variations of the United Kingdom, I would say they are the most beautiful sounds in the world. Yeah, like that. I have to speak slower to replicate it, but even to myself it sounds the best. Like it's not the same saying world than saying world. Because of how it eliminates the R and accentuates the T. French, I won't deny that it's good pick, but I would say British English is the still, or if you were practicing it, you would say British, instead of British, like that, like very short. It's like city. Yeah. It has the perfect O of word. For example, is beautiful. Or I don't know. Nah, like we discussed this with Krova the other the other day when we were playing Drakensang, I remember. And he started saying, "For fuck's sake, I'm used to listen to all of those in every day because he's from the UK. I'm used to listen to all of those all the time, and listening them here from your mouth is terrible." So yeah, you would give it to French. Well, that is bloody lovely, indeed, indeed. Indeed, the use of bloody all the time. Yeah. I do admit that in the case of French, it also sounds quite good. My mother was a French speaker. She knows how to speak French. She's a teacher, but she got to teacher. I think she got to teacher. What am I saying? My mother is a French teacher, not just a student. But it's been 30 years, so I don't think she remembers it all. Instead of bro, they use mate. Indeed. Well, the bro mechanic. No, nowadays it's worse than bro, Patrick. Nowadays we have homie, like a. Sorry. Nowadays we have homie, like it evolved. Shitness evolves. A twin or dog, actually. Yeah. No, nowadays we have worse. We have homie. I don't know if you've ever heard homie. If we were using the British heard instead of heard. Homie. Nothing screams Mexican drug dealing Bronx rapper tacky crime like homie. Nothing. It's like, oh yeah, homie. Dog is very famous in Hungary. Dog. You have dog instead as the mannerism. You have dog. Okay. Like in the US in a lot of cases. Okay. Dog. Not bad. In Argentina we have it worse. We are very original, and we don't use any equivalent Anglophone terms. Our most used slur is curva, of course. That sounds like prostitute because of the final A. In that sense. Yeah, it is. Well, see, it sounds like B, and you finish a phrase. In that sense. Yeah, it is. Yeah, because of the final A. So, here in Argentina we don't have those. We don't have homie, we don't have mate, we don't have bro. We don't have any of that shit. We have our local variation that precisely, with surgical precision, chaotic chemistry from Brazil is so famous here that he knew it. Precisely the word that I have banned, so I don't get any degenerate from my own country coming here to say it, because Twitch won't detect it as an insult. What is the word slang or word in America? It's by region, other than homie. It's what I was telling you, Patrick. It's very localized here. South America does not use the Anglophone ones in that sense. We use the word that presents the chaotic chemistry. The equivalent would be the word that chaotic chemistry wrote. BOOUDO, and for women with an A in the end. Don't write it because it's going to be suppressed. Leave a space in between. I cannot write because I'm not logged into my account. And it is pronounced the N word as whites. That we do that. With in Argentina, there's a myriad of insults. People, we are widely regarded as having the most ample variation of insults in all of the region. Yes, we do that. Another typical is relationships with monkeys. I would say we have that specific tendency. For example, gorilla is a common insult if you are upper class. For example, I would be a gorilla by a leftist. Why? Because socially, gorillas don't socialize with other apes. They only socialize with other gorillas. They do an endogamic circle, and they instead kill other species of apes. And the leftists use it as insult. And in the case of me, of right wing, generally, or average anyone, the general one is macaque. Calling someone macaque. It's that association with monkeys, but especially the macaque, because the macaque is especially stupid. A classic insult that I don't see anywhere else that we have is macaque. Then for homie and bro and those, it's the word that chaotic chemistry wrote. Sounds like what a goat would say. What do you mean a goat would say? it's like calling someone a macaque. When someone is brutish, you call him a macaque, like a monkey. It's a typical slur here. Calling someone white trash would be completely not detected as insult. Being white is not detected as insult. Like if someone calls me white something, white idiot, white, everyone would turn their heads and say, what do you say? White is positive inherently. It's the cultural collective consciousness. So, do you know that in Argentina, did I ever told you how's the population distribution in Argentina? People, I think I have in the past. There's a good reason why. The part of the N word is also used as equivalent of brutish, same as macaque, even if you are white, as you described, Richard. Yeah, that is something that we have in common. Yes. What you guys use the N? What you guys use the N word? Isn't it a death sentence by the black homies? Well, there are no black homies in Argentina. That's the problem. That's the conundrum. This is the most mind-boggling aspect of my country. Yes, in the rest of South America, yes. In Central America, yes. In the rest of all of the continent, in the United States, yes. Not in Argentina. There's no black population in Argentina. There are mixed Spaniards with local Indo-Americans from back then. It's not the majority of the population, and they are more brownish in skin. I can't imagine you using it, but I love surprises though. Kappa. You use it when someone is uncourteous to you. You use it when someone, for example, the previous administration, the president. Yes, because here, how do I explain? This is very difficult to explain. I had a map. I had a good map about this. Whenever this happens, people, just so no one thinks that this is crazy, because I know other countries cannot. It's very difficult to apprehend, but in a country in which there's no black population, it is reasonable to think that those insults, nobody would like if you call someone a typical slur that I've been told that is now in the US, it's called white trash. If you called someone white trash here, everyone would turn their heads and tell him the N word, that he's an N word, but not because of the king, because of being brutish. Argentine people express someone's stupidness by saying N. Do not say that last word. Yes. In some cases, yes. Yes. Or macaque. Or shitty, and then the word. Shitty and then the word is the typical. Shitty plus N word is like the colloquial phrase. It's not the N word alone. It's shitty plus the N word. Generally, when the person is out of his mind. When imagine a degenerate, I don't know. What a surprise! Yes. Hang on. I'll show you. I'm not going to show you the word, of course. I will show you the reason. No, it's not this one. Where's the? No, it's not this one. Sorry, it's the Dark Temple color here. It's shitty plus the N word. Always they go hand in hand. But you have to treat me like shit for me to say. You need to be a macaque indeed to get that. Here's something that I'll show you, a conundrum that very few of you expect if you like surprises. This happened during the last World Cup, that everyone realized, oh, what the fuck? Not all of South America is the same? No. So, where's the other? Where did I have it? It's right here. Here, this one is 1, and then the ethnicity composition. It was a very illustrative image here, this one. Okay, this one will help, and the other one will help as well. Okay. Okay. And then this one is always fun to read. Blah 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 blah. Here we have several. We'll have some fun. Here we have several. Get ready for a surprise, people. So I generally don't talk about my own country's history because I like more your history about World War II, about the US, the dominant powers of the world. We are like in a very isolated position. But given all of the things that we are discussing, I'll give you first this. This is reality. This is not a Disney movie. Okay? This is the ethnicity, the ethnic composition of Argentina. As you can see. Notice the numbers. Please, I ask you to all pay attention to the numbers. Okay? So the question is, how is it not going to be? Shitty plus N-word and etc. a common slur if there is no black population. There is no black population. Why? Because the slave trade routes during the colonization period didn't get so much to the south. They went from Portugal to Brazil, to Central America, to North America, leaving the slaves that then were freed. Some of the Germans are impostors there, KW. No, why? Why do you say they are impostors? As you can see, the total population is 45 million. As you can see, most of us are Italian indeed. In Brazil, there are more Italians. In the United States, there are more Italians in absolute terms because it's much bigger. They have much bigger population. The United States is 300 million, 300,000 million. In Brazil, it's 150. 300 million. In Brazil, it's 150 million, but in Argentina, it's 45 million. It's like an EU country in terms of population density. Then, some of the Germans are imposters there. After World War II, they had to escape to somewhere. They had to escape somewhere, Campa. No, Patrick. That is true, but they are not soldiers. Sorry, the opposite. They are soldiers. The engineers and all of the high up military ranking officers and etc. went to the United States. We got the soldiers in that sense, the very few in that sense. So look at this: 25 million Italian, 6 million Spaniard. See the difference? We are pretty much dislodged Italians, as you can see here. Spaniard, of course. French here being so close to Spanish is always weird. The fourth group is German. World War II, we all know, is the same as the other one. But see, the first four are like that. This Lebanese, I don't know. This one I have no idea. Don't know why it's right there. It must have been a Middle East migration. Irish, we got a lot of Irish migration, and Welsh as well. Here we should add Irish and Welsh, not British. Irish and Welsh. And only then comes the indigenous population at close to 1 million, same as the Irish. This one is brownish in skin, not African still. This is indigenous population. It's like brownish, like some Mexicans you see. Those Irish people want to go home probably. No, they have enclaves in the south. No, and the south is like it's like very similar to Ireland. No. We have also Welsh communities there. No. None of them want to go. They are also Argentine. Then we have Polish. Here Syrian, my great grandpa. One of my great I had 2 Italian, 1 Spaniard, 1 Syrian. But Ireland better in every way. Yes, of course. Economically, yes, of course. Unless you like meat. No, the south of Argentina, you mean, Patrick, geographically? Politically, due to socialism, yes. But geographically, the south, imagine it like it's very vast. It's pretty similar to Ireland and the UK, the south cone. Not where I am at the capital. It's very depopulated. A lot of millionaires are go there with mansions, for example. Even if I had the money and etc., I wouldn't, because it's depopulated. It's like in the middle of nowhere. It's like being in the outskirts of Ireland or the UK. Imagine. It's except that there's a lot of cows. If you like meat, it's like Ireland plus meat. If you want that, and vast territory. You are not like compressed in terms of population density like in Ireland. You have more space for you if you like riding horses, for example. If you like having your farm with cows, it's like Texas mixed with Ireland. It's just that not a lot of people know about this because it's at the end of the world. Right here, we are alone. It's like, imagine a bit of Ireland with Texas. Okay? Imagine it like that. Then we have the Syrian migration of the last. There is one of my great grandpas. And then Belgian, pretty much. Now, let's get to the other topic that you asked me, the social one. So, what is the worst state in the US? Alaska has the highest crime rate. Alaska has the highest crime rate, Patrick. Now, what you asked me before, I don't know if you can read, but I bet you can. I think you can. Why is Argentina so wide compared to the rest of Latin America? This has always confused me, I kid not. I cannot find a single non-European looking Argentinian, not even an Amerindian looking one. Amerindian is the indigenous. If my calculations are correct, almost 85% of Argentina's population is white. Yes, indeed, it's like that. So why does Argentina, and the one that is not here is brownish, if that's your dad, is the Amerindian one. So why does Argentina have so many people of European descent compared to the rest of Latin America? Where the fuck, see, the person cannot understand, did the Native American, there wasn't, because it was not populated, go, and why is there so little compared to Latinos from other countries? Argentina lacked, good response here, Argentina lacked the large urban civilizations seen elsewhere in Latin America, in South America. We got erased or reading Reddit before GTA. I do read Reddit. I do read Reddit. Some people do have pretty good responses. I like getting human responses instead of the stupid AI and etc. Because they are very genuine. Some are clearly degenerates, completely ignorant people, but others are very honest there. And I did this in my first streams when I read about cases of games. So, there was nothing like the Aztecs, the Mayans, or Inca. There were no empires to fight against for the Spanish. People said Reddit is worse than Insta or Facebook. Weird. No, you can get some good responses. No, I disagree with that. Quora and Reddit are still retain a bit of reasoning. So, Argentina like the large urban civilizations elsewhere in South America. There was nothing like the Aztecs, the Mayans, or the Inca Empire. Thus, the colonization of Argentina resembled much more, this is the key, the colonization process of the United States, of Canada, or Australia. This is the key that few people don't understand. With European settlers massively outnumbering, this got worse after World War II with the Italian migration. The indigenous peoples. USSR, Soviet Union subreddit that you showed me already, very healthy community mentally. No, the one that I like is our monarchism. Our monarchist is a good one. You can see that they are all completely peaceful. There are no, everyone expresses his opinion, etc. The our monarchist subreddit is very, very peaceful in that sense. So, Argentina saw a massive wave of migration in the 19th and 20th century, second only to the United States, encouraged, indeed, the founder, this is not racism, people, this is a story. The founder of the educational system of Argentina explicitly included in the constitution an article to encourage white, European, and American migration from no other countries. This has nothing to do with being Nazis. This has nothing to do with anything. It was an article in the Constitution by the founder of the whole educational system. He brought teachers specifically from Boston, mimicking the British educational system. I just checked, and I'm in the our monarchism too. I've joined it when you talked about monarchism. Indeed, 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 indeed. I also did some posts about video games there in. I don't talk about politics. I talk. If anything, I do posts about video games to get people to the channel. I use it as a as a as a as an advert tool. In that sense, it's quite good. Why do you log out from websites? Oh, I'm not logged in any website because like that they can have all of your. They send telemetry. Telemetry. I'm logged out of every single, and my browser, whenever I close it, it automatically kills all active sessions, as should all responsible individuals do. You log, you do what you need to do, you close your account, and use a browser that closes because it sends telemetry. And I didn't sign any contract to sell my data to China. Why do companies have to sell my data to China? If everyone did this, China would have one less income. Pretty much. Because besides, I don't like being vulnerated in my privacy of the websites, even if the things that I watch are the most boring ever. Like I watch walk tours. Is our data that important? I would say yes, because then like that is how then they create political campaigns. And second, they are not paying you. They see like I like cute cats. Sure, go ahead. No, that's the error. Okay, well, wrapping this up. Look at this one. Look at how many people asking the same thing. What actually happened to the black people that didn't exist? Is the Argentine diaspora whiter than Argentina itself? See that whenever people discover that how about this map? When they discover this, I don't know. No, but there was one map. There was one map here 2 months ago. How Argentina wiped out its black. This is a lie. This is a lie. There was a black population. Pretty much. You have a special browser. How? Hang on. No. Now I get to that. But well, as you can see, it's always the same question. That is so cool. No, hang on. What do you mean different browser? It's Firefox. Okay, let's go back to the game, people. But well, the point is that this person is doing an accurate description here. I had another map. Hang on, I had another map to show you the region before I get to that. Hang on. Hang on. This will. You have to use other browser because they are selling your data regarding the kitties. So it automatically deletes your data or whatever. No, it's not that it's a special. It's that I configure it to be like that. Browsers are you configure them. You configure them. Where is it? Okay. This one... Okay, this one has the numbers bigger. This one. Okay, people. Ready for the truth? Here you have it. Because of the process that the other comment perfectly explained, this is the reality. These are the percentages that you were asking about. You see why we feel European. We have those, we share those slurs as insults because of this. It's devastating. I'm not saying that it's good or bad. It's a reality. The reality of how the colonization process went. Do you know where I am? I am at the capital, right here. In the highest point, 88 is for Uruguay, but all of this zone. Pretty much, the most internal part of it, shielded by the rest of the layers, Buenos Aires, indeed. Buenos Aires, indeed. As you can see, this is called the white supermajority. At this number, it is impossible for the ethnicity to ever change. This is a reality. These are the percentages. It's reality. Sounds like a Spanish candy bar. Buenos Aires. It means fair winds. Or like good winds. Fair winds is more accurate. Okay, let's go back to the game. But well, this is the reality, people. Because of the colonization process that we described. Going to the browser. The browser that you told me about. No, Patrick. Everyone on the planet. By the way, you just go into incognito mode and there you can gather data. No, okay, no. Then, if you'd like, I can tell you. First of all, when surfing the internet, you don't have to be logged to any account. That's a data gathering fest. You watch a video about cats, or I watch a video about, I don't know, I like watching Scott the Woz or Modern Vintage Gamer or Metal Jesus, just game collections. I like game rooms and game collections. And you could think, what's the problem with the government seeing, knowing my preferences about the kitties and etc., that then they create political campaigns based on that, or fear campaigns in the case of China. In that sense, for example, the anthropomorphism, it won't be in your case, Patrick, because you are a mature individual, but if imagine yourself as a supreme leader of a country, you get the info that a lot of people like. It sounds schizophrenic. Hang on. It sounds very schizophrenic, but very logical at the same time. But if I say this to my parents, we won't meet for a long time. No, I didn't get that. Why? Why would it be the case? Why? No, why would it be? I'll tell you how it is. Imagine that you are the leader of the country. You get the info that people are watching a lot of kitty videos. Okay? You watch it. They are watching them. You know that it's getting acceptance. Well, you have control over the frames of the Overton window for society. What society is accepting, like we usually say, if the lambs are passing through the gate. You get what I mean? You know the meaning of schizophrenia, right? Yeah, I know it. You don't know if it's crazy, let's say, but very logical at the same time. No, it's like this. Telemetry is a perfect way of measuring acceptance. If the person clicks on the video, because it's not just it's not just that you click, it's how you click or when you click. When you open with an account that is logged in, not with all of the crazy things that I do. This is also due to ignorance, because people don't know that browsers store data. They have a cache memory. That's how they remember. I'm also a software developer, and I work with browsers precisely. And with JavaScript, that is the one that gets all of that. That's why I also have a JavaScript blocker script. And several things I like to. It took me a whole day configuring my browser. It took me a whole day. It should take you. Everyone should take one whole day of their year configuring their browser. Firefox you have to use, and the search engine. The search engine is also the other one. Google also sells all of your data. A lot of people suggest DuckDuckGo, but DuckDuckGo also has the AI incorporated, and I use a start page as a search browser. It's a very small Canadian company, and while they could be selling my data, what I browse, they could do so. The company is so small that the very market won't pay a lot for won't pay for the data. So I presume, I deduce it's not sold. That's the most efficient way, by market deduction. Using a search engine, you can change the search engine. Google, never use Google Chrome. If you're using Google Chrome, forget about everything. Do not expect. You are like inside of an octopus with tentacles, etc. Now, why do I say all of this? Because I know it may sound a bit paranoid. First of all, I didn't sign a contract to sell my data to China. Second, the tactic that I'm mentioning. Patrick, imagine, user gets into his account and etc. Perfect. And you get a recommendation by the YouTube algorithm, okay? And you click on it. That sequence, or when a video finishes and you click on watch next video, that sequence tells the algorithm your preferences, and it trains you and trains it, and etc. Trains the algorithm. But it's not only that. For political parties selling the data to China, they can measure the frame of the Overton window. How much is society going to tolerate if we do something stupid? This is a key portion of how tyrants and governments work, and leaders throughout history. Is what I remember when I told you, it's a pre-revolutionary maneuver. This is what China does. It's a pre-revolutionary maneuver applied to websites. I measure. Oh, a lot of people watched a stupid video. Perfect. I know how much. Maybe it is logical to think, to establish as a deduction, that they will accept a law that goes against their own rights, if I can manipulate them enough. See that there is a connection. I am measuring how much society will tolerate. Okay? I am measuring the subject I'm trying to control. This is not a schizophrenia or conspiracy theory. This is reality, people. All societies since the history of humanity have worked like this to retain power. When we say that information is power, it's not the info itself, it's what it indicates, what it shows us of the pattern of your mental behavior. Sorry, people, I had a flu the other week. I'm almost recovered. I will start browsing with the brain now, thanks, but there is no way I will configure a browser. The thing is that even if you browse with the brain, it's the search engine first that you are using, and the browser that you are using. If you're using Google Chrome, it's reporting everything and logging into accounts. Configuring I not only configure it on a normal configuration, I like put commands to restrict some things. Eventually, some websites start breaking, so you have to find a good balance. But I have it perfectly. See that I am in control of my computer. I have my browser on a leash, on a very tight leash. I don't let the cell phone constantly uh, do whatever. Do you want to see my YouTube start page, people? Well, doing now because I've been streaming, it will give me some recommendations. But if I close it, or if I open another instance, I'll show you something. See, for example, there. No, it's okay. See how safe it is that even with Twitch open, it couldn't relate it to the. Do you want to see my YouTube start page? You're going to have a laugh right now. You know what my YouTube start page, my YouTube homepage is whenever I open my browser? Always the same. This is how it looks like when I studied software development and properly configured it. Try searching something to get started. Start watching videos to help us build a feed of videos you love. Spoiler alert, it will never happen. This indicates to me that the browser is properly configured. It cannot predict at all any preference of the user. Why? Because I'm not signed in, because I'm using a hardened version of Firefox configured by me, and because of the fact that my search engine is this one. This is a start page. It's a small Canadian company. It may sell my data, like all of them do, to survive, but it's so small, the market quota, the market proportion, that no one will care. How do you find new videos? I search for them. For example, here I search Scott Stash, that I watch him. He's a classic YouTuber from Nintendo. He does Nintendo videos, for example, here. And I know this one, like this. Or, I don't know. If I Google, for example, searching YouTube, for example, something that interests me. I don't know. Gaming room tour. Sorry, I'm terrible at writing, that is true. On 2026 game room tours. I ignore the shorts, of course. Here I have a game room. Here I have another one. Here you can see them. For example, I don't know, walking tour 4K Buenos Aires night. Or no, I wouldn't. For example, I do that, and I do that. I tell him, no, please, no sound, shit. I tell him, sorry, not him, it. I tell it what I want. I don't want him to tell me what I want. I know what I want, and I tell it to him. He's my dog, he's my servant. I am not a servant of what a machine tells me. This is my city, by the way. Why? Because the cache is empty every time I close the browser, because I'm not in a logged to an account, and because I use a proper search engine. It can be done. It's not for everyone. For example, I don't know. And here you can see. When you mean the recommendations, I'm not interested in recommendations. If I want to see something, it is a tool. I love how you explain things. Now it is logical and not schizophrenic. But if a random person would tell me this, man, I would run away. I don't use any tinfoil hats or anything. This is reality. I have it on a leash, as it should be. It's a tool. It's a tool. I'm a software developer, people, as well. Besides all of the shit that I've done, that I've read in my life about law, I'm also a software developer. And about precisely. Ah, by the way, this also replies to your question, Pete. You are the 0.1% of the population who does this. Yes, but the other 0.1% of the population don't know about philosophy generally because they are all developers only. So yeah, it's a weird combination. Well, if more than that 0.1% of the population would do it, then we wouldn't get surprised. Then, oh, they sell our data. How did they know that we would switch from cable TV to Netflix and that then Netflix was going to split all of the series and give them to different services and we would still pay? Doesn't it sound weird that they knew that it was going to work? They knew it because precisely when you click on it or when you subscribe, then you are giving your consent. You are accepting the Overton window of power control of the subject, or that is the victim, that is the sheep of the shepherd. By the way, here's the reply. Do you see any African American here? Do you see any African descended people? A person here? This also replies to. See, I replied to both questions at the same time. Do you see anyone remotely black? No. Then it makes. See, there you can see. Do you see anyone black in my city here? No. It's because of how. It's not good or bad. It's how the ethnicity evolved. It's how it evolved. There are some Amerindians, surely. Amerindian with Spaniard. You will see them with a bit of brownish skin, but not African. There were no Africans here. The trade routes didn't come here. They wanted the United States and Central America. We were way too much to the south. We were secluded. Patrick, do you find? Do you? You can see it here. There's none. They are all European descended. Different shades, different country. They are all European. We are European, like this. The blood. It's just that we are dislodged geographically. Very much. Well, I think I made my point here regarding several things at the same time. You are 0.1% of the population without this. I love how you explain things. Now it is logical and not schizophrenic. But if a random person would tell me this, man, I would run away. No, on the contrary, the one that on the contrary, the one who tells you that using Google Chrome is fine. I am sorry, the person wants your data. It's the only explanation. To sell it, instead of moving his ass and finding a real job. Or maybe they are even being paid by China to do so. a lot of people must be having a heart attack by now, seeing that the population is so uniform regarding their skin color here. But it's what it is, people. The South that you asked me about, Patrick. The South. Here, for example, the most southernmost city. You'll see why the Irish and the Welsh get here. Seattle is quite similar geographically to Ireland. Maybe a bit less greenish. Yeah, Google Chrome is a well-known. And then what do you use? So see, there you have the snow. See, look at this. This could easily be. This is the southernmost section. Here we have night walking. For example, see it looks Welsh more than where we are. Like, yeah, we know this is the capital. We don't care. Look at this. This could easily be a street in Ireland with those houses style. Look at this. It's a big country and it's depopulated. There have the snow. Well, it's like watery snow. Huh? If I show this picture, a lot of people would probably say that it's Ireland. Or, I don't know, or any random street of a Viking descended country. I don't know, Denmark or whatever. Look at the snow. Or Norway. There you have my point, people. Regarding the browsers and the rest of the thing, what do you use then, Patrick, if Google Chrome isn't an option? Firefox is the only one that you should be using. Why? Because precisely it gives the user the most control. To avoid all of those things, a lot of people say Brave, but Brave is based on Chromium, which is Google Chrome. Instead, Firefox is based on Unix, if I'm not mistaken, or something else. It's a different engine. The thing is that a browser can have a different name than Google Chrome and be based on Chromium. The key is that you have to see if it's based on Chromium or not. If it's based on Chromium, even if it was somehow patched up, somehow fixed, it will have the germ inside of it. That's why all developers use Firefox on Mac or Windows. All software developers use Firefox properly. Then on top, the search engine. Don't use Google as a search engine, even inside of Firefox. And then, on top of that, I also install extensions. It's not only that. When I say hardened, I also install extensions. For example, you know that browsers can get extensions, right? Extension. For example, there's one that tells me the resolution of when I was doing software development. Which search engine do you use? Start Page. It's a small Canadian company, private, that is bad, but it is so small that I'd rather have a very small private one than open source like DuckDuckGo that I think it was. Because even if they try to sell the data, it's so small, the quota of market, that there will be no buyer interested in it. So, such few people, if more people used it around the world, that is not going to happen, maybe I would consider changing it, but no, it's been quite good. It's like so. Start page. It's a small Canadian like search engines belong to a company. It's like that, people. And on top the extensions. For example, I don't have any trackers, any cookies. You have to eliminate the cookies. You have to configure your browser to put it on a leash. It should be your dog, not you be the dog of a cell phone. Or at least it was like that in the 90s and well. It's not being schizophrenic. I didn't sign a contract to sell my data to China. Am I getting paid? Excuse me, am I getting paid? At least? Or am I not getting paid? Abused in my privacy? And all for nothing. It's like that. Consciousness of privacy, people. We've lost consciousness of privacy. Why? Do I ask what the Chinese, what, for example, what's Xi Jinping Googling right now? Am I asking that? No. I honestly don't give a shit. I just want the US to deal with all of communism. I don't even... why is it that I have to be a scapegoat of intelligence services like that? It's unfair from every single angle that you see it from. Now, you can tell me, well, that population cannot do that. We just want to browse and be recommended kitty videos and etc. Or in your case, games or whatever. Don't you think that is useful being recommended? No. I don't think it's useful recommending me anything. I know perfectly what I want, when I want it, exactly how I want it, if the person knows how to present the topic or not, and I'll use the perfectly fine search engine that already has association algorithms. Why do I need a recommendation if the search engine already has association algorithms? You could see that I wrote some phrases and immediately all of the people that treated the topic the best, they were already selected. Channels are already pre-selected by the algorithm when you do the search engine. Why on top recommend me anything if I'm not... If I know what I want, this is the real problem of society. People don't know what... People are getting used to not knowing what they want. So they need to be told what they want, like children. See how dangerous it is if you start thinking about it. People, adults, get recommended those things and they click them because they don't know what they want in life. See if it's dangerous. And well, there you have your answer. Imagine you as the supreme ruler of China, Russia, or whatever country. I see population that indeed do not know what they want. Do you think they are easier or harder to control after having that information? I think they are easier to control. Clearly. If I see that someone doesn't know what he wants, isn't he easier to control? I can't do that. Yes, he is. He has a problem. The person accepts whatever, like nihilism, however reality is presented to him, not putting in any effort. This is, see how the topics are related. Relativism and nihilism to privacy online. With nihilism and relativism, remember people, objective reality doesn't exist. Well, if objective reality doesn't exist, how are you going to know what you want if you don't accept that? How will you know what you want actually in life? You don't know, and precisely that's why you are told what you should like by the recommendation algorithm, because they know that perfectly. Or is it all of this process that I'm mentioning a coincidence? I think it's way too many details for all of this to be a fucking coincidence. Anyone who watches the pod This man is not schizophrenic. He's just Italian and smart. An atomic bomb threat level combo. An atomic bomb threat level combo. You know what the problem will be, Patrick? That if you ever meet anyone from Argentina, well, there are some that are intelligent, I don't deny that, and don't see this, you will have utmost respect, and maybe they are fucking gorillas as well. They are fucking macaques as well. Anyone who wants to know, this man is not a schizophrenic. He's just Italian and smart. An atomic bomb threat level combo. Properly put. Properly put. Well put. Of course I'm not. It's just that when you perpetuate all of this for years, and you read for years, and you stimulate your brain for years, eventually the gap is not helped by the society that we have now. The gap becomes like a fucking ocean, and I'm not saying that I'm a genius, people. I didn't discover anything important in life. This should be the stand. The scary part is that the things that I tell you were the standard for the population. Well, maybe not for the average of the population, but were much more common to see no more than 20 years ago, before Obama, pretty much. If I talk about this in these terms, in these very same terms, to anyone no more than 15 years ago, no one would have thought that I was schizophrenic by saying those. At all, At all. And they wouldn't think that I would be a genius either or anything. Or it wouldn't be seen as weird. Indeed. Well, thank you, Patrick, that you think like that. I am not a genius. I'm not a genius. I just associate and do my best. I don't like being told how to think those things. With all seriousness now, dumb people may get scared of you because you know too much about the world and they take it as a burden. Yes, indeed, it is like this. A lot of people have. It has happened to me several times. Yeah, that is the absolute reality. Indeed, they may get scared. Indeed, but because they are afraid of asking why and listening. And that is something that is not my responsibility, I'm sorry. It's not something that I feel bad about. We shouldn't feel bad about that. I'm sorry, it's the responsibility of each individual seeking not being ignorant. Like I did when young, like you did, and etc. Like everyone has to do. It's not my responsibility. They are not my children. They are not my children. I can be here, encourage everything. You can see that I like sharing, of course. Not obligatory, not mandatory. I like doing so, yeah. But it is the responsibility of their families. Not even of the school. It's of their families. Mother and father. You would bet, Patrick, that they would get scared. Now, I've had some good people in Star Wars Your Republican here. With all this knowledge, how do you function? Let your brain always just on max power. So, thinking about why is the sky blue, I got this from my classmates. So your classmates told you, why, with all this knowledge, how do you function? You already you are like speaking in a different language in that sense. They told you, like your brain ideated always just on brain on max power only. They think it's like a cartoon. Okay, they like interpret it like a cartoon, like a superhero. Okay, since they cannot get to the process as to why, they revert back to a childish perception, like a superhero on a TV show. thinking about why is the sky blue. I got this from my classmates. I debated, and you debated with them. Okay, yeah, it's like that. Hopefully, Patrick. But don't get used because eventually, I don't know you. I know you won't trust it now, but eventually, you will. Once they grow up, I bet that maybe when they reach my age, when you reach my age at 30, they will they will adapt a bit more. My brain must be shallow from the philosophy and also politics and what do you mean? My brain must be shallow from the philosophy and also politics at the same time. What do you mean with that last phrase? That's what they told you, or what you tell to them, or do you really feel like that? On the contrary, no, it wouldn't be shallow at all. It wouldn't be shallow at all. What do you mean? There is too much knowledge. Ah, okay. So these ideas or these is or are too much knowledge for them. Yes, you overwhelm them. We can overwhelm people. We can overwhelm people with thoughts like that. Yes, yes. Especially if they are extroverted because they are used to act instead of thinking. So you're overwhelming them. It's like if you grab a programming language and you start sending it commands and commands and commands and commands and commands and commands and commands, and eventually it collapses, and you have to restart the PC. You are going to laugh, people, but it's like that. The human brain is not so different than that. Not so different. You are literally overloading. You are overwhelming their sensitive function of processing the information logically. They have a limit, and you break it, and you are crashing the PC. You are like crashing the OS, the operating system. Like when Windows gets the blue screen of death. It's like that. They don't know that even if we truly, they don't know that even if we study all day in our life, our brain can't get full. So they think that there's indeed it can't. It is impossible for the brain to get full. What it can be is overwhelmed by processing. For example, when I have been studying for the exam and in the past every now and then, I studied so much that I got physical headaches at some point. At that point, I stopped, of course, but I got physical headaches. There's a limit to the capability of processing information. That's what the artificial intelligence has as positive in that sense. That it has an unlimited. What we have limited would be the RAM, the random access memory. Okay, in that sense, that would be the equivalent. We have limited RAM. In that sense, we can have. Imagine like that. Your friends have, like you, the human brain has like an unlimited hard drive. You can store endlessly. But the RAM is limited. When we put into a PC 2 gigs of RAM, 4 gigs of RAM, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, that is what yes can be limited, because the brain is a muscle that you have to exercise, so the neural connections increase the total amount of RAM. It's the RAM, it's not the hard drive. That's the mistake they do. It's the random access memory. The RAM sticks. Here, I have some RAM sticks. Here, I have some RAM sticks, for example. This is imagine that this is what they are talking about. They think it's the hard drive, the total capacity. No, the total capacity is infinite. Because of how neural connections work. See if it's fascinating. The RAM is the problem. Fortunately, we can expand our RAM just like real PCs. But the brain is a muscle, and you have to train it. Just like they train their arms and legs running or whatever to protect their GFs in the dark alley being a fucking gorilla. You have to train the brain as well. In my case, my problem is that indeed I need to train at least my legs. True, true. I should train my legs more. I did swim a lot as a kid, so I'm okay. But yeah, true. But above all, above all, uh, train the brain. In that sense, it's a must at the end of the day. So they don't know that even if we study all day in our life, our brain can get full. So they think the brain is like a box in which you start putting shit, you start putting shit, and eventually it gets filled. Well, but if that was true, and that we all have a box of a specific size, I bet they think. Well, but if that was true, if that was true, um, it would be like hard drives that when they write, they have a specific section where they are writing, contrary to precisely RAM memory that is like volatile. It can switch it like a physical place. It can grab it like inside of a box, grab that zone, leave it empty, put another thing, then take it, then put another thing. That's like random access. They think it's like the hard drive that it writes a sector, and the act of writing remains there. By the way, when you say do not break the synapses, can you explain it in practice? Don't get distracted. Don't change the prolong the study session, the reading session, as much as possible, without thinking about other things, without saying, "Well, it's just 5 minutes. I'll watch my phone." I disagree with the Pomodoro technique that you see online of 45 minutes, and then the fact that they say that the limit of human concentration is 1 hour, and it has to stop with a break. No, I disagree with that. I'd rather I do believe that it is more effective like doing it continuously and then stopping for a good chunk. Go have dinner and then come back. When I say that I interrupt, it must have happened to you. For example, when I did, imagine you are reading. Okay, this is what I mean by breaking it. It's the process of the neural connection being strengthened. So imagine I'm reading a topic, and halfway through a text, before finishing the topic, I say, well, it's 5 minutes. I'll get to my phone and see if I got a subscriber over at YouTube. I open YouTube Studio. From here, I access my channel. See here on my phone, I am logged because I know that the phone is completely vulnerable by default. For example, I got a subscriber. It's actually the algorithm that is also stealing me. Whenever I get a subscriber, then if I get more than one in a month, it removes it, and only in the next month I recover it, that it's been exactly 1 month. See if they control everything. Okay, so I do this when I should be reading. This stupid act interrupted the whole process if I was reading a book. And you must be thinking, if I was reading a book, of wrapping up the idea in my head, of having a physical representation of it. I left it halfway. Okay? And that makes it worse. The synapses can still happen, but it's taking you much more effort, and it's not as efficient. By the way, people, in the case of phones, do you know what I do with my phone? It's also my slave. I'm not a slave of this. Do you know what I do? When I need to use an internet function, since here you have to be logged continuously, here you have another evidence of how it is. The phone without being logged continuously doesn't work directly, okay? You need to put in at least one Gmail account. So you know what I do? I use it normally whenever I need to order food or look at YouTube Studio. I generally do that. I don't use my phone for anything else. I don't have any social media. I don't have any social media. What type of phone do you have? An old Xiaomi Redmi 7 from 2017. I hate phones. I hate phones. Like that. It's an old phone. It's full of games. That's true. Here I can show it to you. It's full of games because few people know about the period of history in 2012 in offline games, of course. The period of time in 2012 of good Android games when Gameloft was at its prime. History of Android gaming. We can do it one day. Patrick, Patrick. Hopefully, at least I don't scare you with all of the topics that I've researched. In that sense, a Chinese one. Yes, indeed. Do you know what I do? Knowing that it's a Chinese. See, for example, I have more games, more offline. They are all offline games. More offline games. They're just offline games. And then I have the food delivery app, my authenticators for Twitch, for Star Wars: Your Republic, and Discord, and then just WhatsApp and Telegram for family members. Where did you find these games? The offline games. Oh, I knew about them. And you have they are no longer available on the App Store because they want to release shitty online ones nowadays. I researched about the history of Android gaming, of course. I'm also an expert on that topic. Android gaming was good. I knew about them back in the day, and you can get them from websites that do an archive. They do an archive for. This is a fascinating. It's a topic that gets me riled up. It's absolutely. I get absolutely excited with this topic. You can find them online, even in YouTube videos. See, I used YouTube for something useful because they need to be modified. APKs. APKs is the file extension for manually installing a file outside of the App Store in Android. I don't know how it is in the iPhone. I found them online, and I just downloaded them. Pretty much. I manually inserted them into the phone. I manually installed them. They were not available on the Play Store in that sense. Because in that sense, they need to be... There's two problems with this. First, the incompatibility of the Android version with the APK. That's why it needs to be modded. In other words, people, I know that I'm beginning to... it's way too much. The previous phrase was very precise about he's just Italian and smart, and that's an atomic bomb combo. How do I put it? APKs, the installers, they are like the executables on Windows that you execute programs. Well, they have an incompatibility with the operating system of Android, with the version. For example, those games that were released in 2012, 2013, 2014, that are console-like, quite good, and work offline. I do not depend on internet connection. They wouldn't work on my version of Android. My version of Android is mostly updated on Android 10. I think that right now we are on 12 or something like that. But it's mostly a huge difference, mostly a huge difference, in which they were released under Android 5.0, 4.0, 6.0, the good old days of 2012. We're talking about 2012, 2010, more or less. And even if I wanted to download it from the Play Store, that's why they remove it, they would be incompatible, so they need to be modded. They need to be modded. Fortunately, the US community, certainly not China, the US community, certainly not China, they have websites that archive them and mod them so they work The older games work in newer versions of Android. By the way, when I asked about the logged off accounts, I meant the uncomfortable things you have to do when you want to manage Twitch or do something on the internet that needs an account. Okay, which would be the specific case? Tell me. Regarding Twitch, I stream logged out from the. I stream logged out from the website. I have it open, but as one more spectator, so I can see that I'm not streaming a black screen. But I am logged from the interface of Streamlabs itself. Not right now because I logged out to the YouTube account, but I can write in chat and see your messages and everything because I am already linking my Twitch account to the interface. People don't understand this. A website, a web browser is an interface for something called the DOM, the Document Object Model, which is like a cyberspace. Let's say this is very technical. This is like advanced junior programming on web browsers. The document object model is like an in-between cyberspace, let's just say, between the between the website stored in the computer of the person who created it and then it being uploaded to the internet. Let's just say it like that. So do you think downloading Firefox, logging off, is not enough for data safety? No, definitely not. Definitely not. The search engine cannot be, if it's Google Chrome, all of that is useless. And